Hello everyone. I'm up early. It's about 5:15 in the morning. I'm having my coffee. I've been eating some oatmeal and feeding my little kitties. And I got a little darling right here that she likes to come in here and drink her little milk and eat some tuna fish. She's a good little girl. You can see her. She's a little darling. She got little blue eyes. My little rescue kitty, I named her Baby Precious. Precious, but I call her Baby Precious. You know, I wanted to talk to you about something that's been on my mind, and that is when it's almost time to say goodbye. Uh, Little Miss Pat's an elderly lady. I guess she's about 80, 81, somewhere around there. She might be 82. She's the one got me walking over at the senior center. Instead of trying to walk out in the heat, she told me about the controlled environment over there. They got air conditioning in the summer and they have heat in the winter, and you can walk. I walk 3.3 miles every morning, and I'm in a safe environment, and they have restrooms if you have to use them. And it's just a wonderful place, real nice people. Miss Jimmy, she's the volunteer, and she's there every morning to greet you. She's just a wonderful, wonderful lady. And Miss Pat is the one that encouraged me to go over there because that's where she goes. Well, I started going there, and little Miss Pat walked with a friend that's had surgery. She had neck surgery. She's a very elderly person too. I think she's 80 or she might be 83. But they can barely get around. And little Miss Pat, she's got Parkinson's disease, I believe, because her head wobbles real bad, like it's about to fall off. I mean, I'm not making fun. I'm just explaining to you how bad it is. And her head just wobbles constantly. Well, when she walks, she's like this. So her friend hadn't been there because her friend's husband, they had to do emergency heart surgery on him, and it don't look like he's going to make it. So little Miss Pat's been up there by herself, and she tries to walk. And she got one of those canes with those 3 prongs on the bottom of it, supposed to help her. Well, she drags it along when she's walking, and she's real wobbly. But you know, back to the subject, when it's almost time to say goodbye. You can tell these things when you come in contact with people like this. And little Miss Pat, I just love her so much, her and Miss Jimmy. And I tell you what, I just get attached to people, especially since my wife died. When I meet somebody, I pray for them, and I'm concerned about them. I don't hang with them. I just pray for them, and you know how it is. But I can tell that it's almost time to say goodbye. And I call little Miss Pat. She lives here in the senior center community here where I live. The apartment's right over from me. And she's not doing well. She has trouble getting around. And I was watching her this morning walking. I walk beside her so I can catch her in case she falls. Because I think that's the scenario that we're fixing to have happen. I mean, it's just, I hate to see it, but I can tell it's coming. And it just breaks my heart. And I know that you probably know people in your life, friends that you become attached to, and you pray for them, and you're concerned about them. And you know by being around them in their presence that they're not long for this world, and you can tell it. And I'm very, very much aware of death and dying since my wife died. I took care of her. I was her caregiver for 3 solid months. She couldn't eat or drink, and I couldn't eat or drink either. I mean, when your wife is dying, when your spouse is dying, and you're taking care of them, how can you put food in your mouth when they can't eat? And how can you drink water or a cup of tea or a cup of coffee when they can't? You can't do it. I tried. I couldn't do it. But I'm very concerned for little Miss Pat. I pray for her, and I pray for little Miss Jimmy. Miss Jimmy's way up in years too, and she volunteers to run the senior citizen. She opens it up for everybody, and she sits over at her little desk with her little computer, with her little smile and her little cup of coffee, and she just talks to you. How you doing today? She says. She's just sweet as she can be. Aren't people precious? When you become to know people, aren't they precious, the people you come in contact with in your daily living? I'm telling you, people, I love living and I love life. I love everything about Jesus, and I love people, and I love God's little animals, the little creatures that He has made. You know, our God is so talented, and He is so good to us. I kind of feel like those 3 cats that I took to the shelter were angel cats. I've heard of angel cats before, and I just kind of feel like they were. They had a spirit of calmness and peace. And when I brought them in, my little kitty that I just now showed you, she's all claws. I've got scratch marks all over me and teeth mark bites all over me. She doesn't mean to do it. She's just a kitten. And that's what she does. She plays constantly. And she's constantly scratching and constantly biting. And Oreo takes care of her for me. And I'm thank God for my Oreo. And she's my tuxedo cat. And she mothers all the little kittens that I bring in. Tarzan, she mothered him. And she mothered Milo up to an extent because Milo was bigger. He's a Bengal. And he was kind of bigger than Tarzan was when I brought him in. But nonetheless, she does help me, and I'm thankful to God for that. But those little cats, when they were here, I haven't slept like I slept the night before last. That cat was on the end table right beside my recliner, and I actually slept peacefully with that cat there. And she was right there beside me. She purred so beautifully, and her little voice was different than any cat I've ever heard. And I hated to give her up, but like I said, I couldn't keep her. There's no way. I've already got 4. I can't have no more. But any road, when it's almost time to say goodbye to the people that you've come to know and respect and love in a brotherly and sisterly love, a Christian love, a Christian concern. When you know it's almost time to say goodbye, it's something you don't want to do. So I get up praying. 3 o'clock in the morning, every morning I'm up praying. And I pray for Miss Pat, Miss Jimmy, for my brother and his family, for my children and their families. My daughter-in-law is dying. She's on hospice. She had emergency surgery on her liver, and they removed 2 big stones that big around from her liver. I've never heard of it before in my life, but they did, and her blood count dropped, and her oxygen level dropped, and they cannot get it back up. They can't do it. So they've called hospice in, and they got a hospital bed brought in over at my son's apartment, and hospice comes in 4 times a day and 4 times during the night. And they're administering Ativan, morphine, and Oxycontin. And my son had to take her back to the hospital. He texted me and let me know that he had to take his wife back. No, he called me. And he told me that he had to take her back to ICU. They had to drain 3 more liters of fluid from her liver area, her abdomen area. From the liver, it's some kind of fluid, which they said that it'll eventually go into the lungs. And this is the body dying in death. And that's what happens when the body starts shutting down. And So that's where we're at in hospice on my daughter-in-law. So y'all pray for her. I think she's 44 years old or 45. But my son is really going through it. But when it's almost time to say goodbye, it's something you don't want to do. It's something none of us want to do. I hate death and I hate dying. I love living and I love life. And I really think we all do. Please hit the like button, and I'm inviting you to subscribe to my channel. This is Grandpa Hickory saying goodbye from now from Texas, and goodbye from Texas, and I'll see you on the next video.